Now who wanna move close enough? Now who wanna move out of? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock them, yeah, we got them, yeah, we fought them. Like that black and orange up on them. Single bottle, never stop it. To the beast and know them. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen. We gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who they we ignite and
Welcome to Bengals and Brews. I am Dale Altman, joined by a guy I feel like I haven't seen in 27 years because I've done like 84 podcasts this week. The mayor of Port Chopolis, Pork Chop.
Hey,
Mr. OHIO himself down there.
yeah,
Hero Derek Davis.
and
Our birthday boy,
the fucking birthday boy.
Nick Savage, Greg. Everybody wish him a happy birthday. Greg is 25 years old today. Let's go with that, right, Greg? That sounds like a good number.
You're 12 years off, but let's just go with that.
Anybody that DMs me, I'll give them Greg's address if they want to show up and tell him happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
make
happy
some
birthday
hookers.
tune. Happy
Maybe
birthday.
take
We got
hookers
some
to his
bitches
house.
for you.
Well,
And that
and we
way
know
he
Greg is
gets
going to be
mad.
he's going to be eating lots of birthday ass.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
right. All the ass.
So Greg's going to be eating ass. We're going to be talking pie.
Later
much
on,
pie
Greg,
will the
are you going
Bengals
to your
have?
mom's house for some ass?
Yeah.
How much pie could the Bengals end up having? And hello to everybody in the Brew Crew in the chat, man. Good to see y'all. Stranger Darce, Industries, Tina, Crip, Andrew, Matt, Chris Crowley, a resident New Jersey homie.
Yep.
Still got to keep scrolling down here. Scrolling a little slow today. Austin, Jungle Jerry, our Blue Jacket man
Yep.
himself, and our
Kevin.
Blue Jackets are playing good, Kevin. And then we got a happy birthday to Greg.
Yep.
Another happy birthday to Greg.
Thank
Hey.
you all.
Another happy birthday to Greg.
Oh, man.
Another happy birthday to Greg.
Happy birthday, Greg.
Another happy birthday to Greg.
Look at that.
And Crip says, you know, they still call him Casper Dick.
Oh, there you go.
Talking about Derek.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. I've seen it happen. I've been out with Derek in public before.
Yeah. And then another happy birthday to Greg.
Yeah.
And then a what's up, Papa Chop from
What's
your
up, my bastard son?
Anthony Anderson. And Crip also says, happy birthday. to
Oh,
Greg.
yeah.
So all the birthday wishes.
Yeah, Greg. How do you feel? Special?
I don't feel too much special with work the last couple of days, but if you want to call it that, let's call it that.
You had to work on your birthday?
Who
Yeah.
doesn't have to work on the birthday?
Duty calls and all that and stuff. Snow's actually not too bad outside right now, so we'll see how that goes.
It
Another
seems like
happy
it never
birthday to Greg.
fails. My birthday always falls on the days you have to work between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I don't get a birthday except every 4 years, so fuck y'all.
Yeah, you're always off on your birthday, right?
Yeah, you see this, man? 13. I've had 13 birthdays, man. 13 birthdays, 5 kids, and a grandson.
Leap year,
That's
baby.
right.
You're just a leap year little baby, little teenager
Right.
now, little teenager.
I'm
rebel.
boning the chick that's had 52 birthdays. Aha! Woo!
Hot for teacher.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the pie. The Bengals are scheduled. This is per Spotrac scheduled to have. It is basically, we'll just call it 60 million. It's 59,926. What's a
Fucking couple million between friends, right?
Right.
Exactly. So almost 60 million in cap space. And then it's obviously some things we talked about. And we're going to talk a bunch of stuff on this show. We'll talk the defense coordinator news that was then not news. Dejan Anthony was trolling, if you all seen that.
Oh,
And that
man.
kind of got ran with that. He said there was a guy already hired.
Shoot.
That does not seem to be the case. We only know of the 2 interviews, Covington and Graham, so far as well. I do like Graham. I think he'd be a pretty good hire from the Raiders,
Yeah.
which we've talked about quite a bit over the
Hey,
week.
he
And
can
with
bring
Max
his buddy
Crosby.
with him. He can bring his buddy Max with him.
Yeah, you guys could just forget about that. He'd probably bring some coaches with him, though.
Right.
Wouldn't surprise me because there'll be a new staff in there. A new GM, too. They fired Tom Telesco after 1 season. So, yeah. Sounds like Tom Brady, from all reports, is running the show there for the Raiders. I saw a nice edited photo with him with that.
I saw that, man. That was awesome.
Oh, that was great. That was
Yeah.
great.
That
Fantastic.
was great.
But yeah, some things the Bengals can do, and a lot of this is, gosh, this stuff's kind of boring. But we talked about if you cut Sam Hubbard, or he retires, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's $11.5 million cap hit, $2 million dead cap money, so that's $9.5 million savings toward the cap. So we'll just kind of start there. You can add to that $60 million, almost 10 more right away, and be up to $70 million in cap space. It's a no-brainer, right? I think we've all been in agreement. There's no way you can pay Sam $11.5 million next year.
No, but would you be opposed to restructuring him and keeping him as a backup?
Maybe. I mean, it'd be a very reduced role and a very reduced salary. So, like, if he's basically playing on a vet minimum because he wants to finish out his career here, but we'll just see what he's thinking. That's a late season injury. He's dealt with quite a few injuries, it seems like, the last couple of years. And I still think, what a way to go out, man.
Oh,
what a way to go out catching a touchdown pass.
Especially because he's defense. He's defensive player. And his last play was to catch a touchdown.
Yeah,
and I remember AJ Green's last play. Yeah, well, that's one thing. That's one thing for Sam, though. Like he'll always have that. I think every fan will remember his last play as a Bengal, if it indeed is.
AJ Green's last play was for the Cardinals, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, but
his last play. I do remember him catching a touchdown pass from Joe Burrow in the last season, though. That's cool.
Yeah, I do remember that.
We'll have that because I loved AJ, man. Great player, great career.
Yeah.
I wonder if and this is not even a knock on Andy. He is very average, solid quarterback. But if he had a Joe Burrow, imagine AJ Green's numbers, man. He could have been.
Hey, what
Hall
is
of Famer probably?
What's the Deshaun Watson news? I was sleeping.
Tore his ACL again.
Oh man, that's so sad. That's so sad.
Show us your sad face.
Oh, so sad. Deshaun
couldn't have happened to a better person.
Him can't walk. His leg hurts.
So then next, and a lot of people are talking about these cuts, is Rankins has an $11.6 million cap hit. So even a smidge more than you'd be paying Sam Hubbard to pay Sheldon Rankins, who we've seen absolutely nothing from. We know he's 32 years old already. Seems to be on the downside of his career. We don't know what was going on with the sickness there. Hopefully he's okay health-wise. But regardless of that, $2 million dead, cap money. So that's a savings of $9.6 million toward the cap by cutting him. There's almost another $10 million by cutting a guy who gave you nothing this year, basically.
Yeah.
We're all in agreement there too, right?
Oh yeah.
Bye-bye, Sheldon Rankins.
I see that one happening more than Sam for sure. The guy did he even play half the season this year?
No.
I can't wait to find out what was.
I don't think we will find out
with him
because now they don't have to tell us shit.
Serious.
Right. And then the last one that we know is pretty obvious, and there's some others that we think will happen or could happen that we'll mention. It's definitely not Joe Burrow.
Not Joe.
Alex Kappa is scheduled to make $10.25 million around there, with a $2.25 million dead cap hit, a savings $8 million. Who someone said won the triple frown.
I saw that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was yep.
Giving up the most sacks, the most pressures, and the most hurries. So he did all of those things. Congratulations, Alex Krappa, for your triple frown.
Right. He can you can stick around for minimum wage.
But I'm not going to shit on
that
Kappa.
minimum wage, like 10 something an hour.
Seems like one of those guys who just fell off a cliff at a certain age. When we got him in here, we had nothing, and I think he gave us a couple good years. So
I agree.
Yeah. Any thoughts on any of those three so far? And Greg, I'll go to you first with those. But if we cut all those guys just with those three moves, we're up to $87.1 million. That's an update just with those three moves of how much cap space the Bengals are projected to have.
I mean, you never want to be happy for anybody losing their job or anything. But
some people you do.
On the business side of this, it just makes too much sense right here. Just doesn't mean, these are players that haven't been producing well. Why would I want to pay Sam? Why do I want to pay Cap all that money? What have they proven to me where they're worth keeping and all that? You just got to move on. We got bigger things we need to spend on in free agency. So, I wish them the best, whatever happens, if it happens. But it's just the business. It's a business. You got to do what's best for your business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Derek, anything on those?
Nope. I agree completely with what Greg said. Just part of the business. You don't perform, you get out of here.
All right, Chop. Now tell us why we should keep those 3 players. And that's it. That's all he's got. He's got nothing on that.
I was going to say the way I differ with Greg is he's like, I hope they do good wherever they go. No, I fucking don't. Depends on where they go. And it depends on when. Because sometimes I hope they don't do good at all. You know what I mean?
They all 3 retire. Good careers.
Yeah, I never said
them retire.
Play
Especially, I would love to see Sam retire because, you know, I do appreciate that whole Cincinnati thing. Like, it's our Cincinnati boy, you know, born here, raised here, schooled here, went to Ohio State, came back, played his whole career for the Bengals. Last, like you said, Dale, last play as a defensive lineman, you know, an edge rusher is to catch a pass from Joe Burrow in the end zone and score a touchdown. That's perfect. The only way it could have been more perfect is if the game was in Cincinnati, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Dustin, this is one I'll admit I haven't looked up. I'm going to get into like 3 more names that I looked up and how much cap space we'd have with these cuts if we make these. And some of them I don't know that we will. A couple of them I think are definitely very borderline cuts potentially. The next guy I'll get to is, but he says surprise cut Logan Wilson. I can't see that because of another guy I got on this list, Davis Gaither. But I mean, that's why it would be a surprise cut, as you mentioned. So I can't personally see that right now, but I guess you never know, right? It could. I definitely don't think him or Pratt. Pratt will be a guy I get to here in a little bit, but I don't. If Pratt's cut, I think it would probably be after the draft. You drafted somebody that fell to you in the 3rd or 4th that you think could be a starter. Maybe he's cut later, closer to the season, even.
I still, to tell
any
you the
thoughts
truth,
on Logan Wilson, guys, before I move on?
Yeah, I
to the
feel
next
like
guy?
that a new coach could come in here and rejuvenate our linebackers, you know, because we had good linebackers a few years ago.
Hey,
Logan Wilson was doing great, huh?
Hey, Chop, you know who was our linebackers coach at one point? Al Golden, just saying.
Well, there you go. And you know what? Al Golden was our linebacker coach during that last Super Bowl run, right?
Yep.
And our linebackers were playing great then, right? I'm just not ready to give up on them yet. I understand, you know, I don't see it with a scout's eye, and I know that fucking Pratt's running around out there like he's got lead boots, you know, but didn't he still like lead the league in tackles, like, or some shit like that, or was it just the Bengals?
Yeah, and we'll get to Pratt. I
don't
to
want to
Wilson.
go too
Wilson
into it,
looked like he kind of lost a step though, and Dustin was pretty spot on last year, so I'll give him his credit on Kappa. Yeah. He saw the Kappa decline coming, and then we witnessed it all. We all witnessed it and couldn't not see it this year with how bad he was. So I think it's something to keep an eye on, even if Wilson's here. You know, does he bounce back and we see the Logan Wilson we're used to seeing? You know, maybe he was dealing with injuries a lot during the season. Hey guys, Greg, it wasn't a sneeze, but he coughed and he muted the mic.
What? Man,
it took me 38 years to figure it out.
That's what I'm saying. 38 years is how long it took Greg to realize to turn off the mic instead of the camera for a sneeze.
Exactly.
Incredible job, Greg.
Man,
so
Greg, I can't wait to see what you learn this year going into next.
Here we go.
There you go. The next guy on the list, so we're already up to 87.1 with 3 cuts we think should obviously happen. I think this is one that is pretty likely, and that's Zach Moss. So $4.8 million cap hit for next year, 1.5 in dead money. So you save around $3.3 million against the cap, and that puts you up to $90.4 million in cap space with those 4 moves. The neck injury, that's always scary. It's a violent sport, and you're a guy who's having to be in the violence no matter what because you're getting tackled every play or you're blocking and having to pick up these blitzers every play. And it's not like he played bad for us, but we saw Brown break out. And Herbert's also going to be a free agent. I would like to see him back, whether it's a number 2 or number 3. Maybe we can draft a guy on day 3, a big power back for short yardage. Maybe Kendall Milton takes a step. We didn't see enough of him to know. He was a undrafted guy we brought in. Kind of called him up at times. He also was on the active roster at the end of the year. So seems to be a guy that I think that, you know, there's at least some interest in Milton. And he has the potential to be our power back because he's like 6'2", 225. And we've seen him do that at Georgia. So there's other pieces there. Travion also is a guy I don't necessarily think will be back, but if they kept, it wouldn't be a complete surprise if they kept Zach Moss to me, but I think he's cut, and we'll kick it around, and Greg Derrick and up the chop on that one too. Thoughts on Zach Moss, because we haven't talked about him too much on here.
Yeah, Zach Moss coming in, just like I say, when he was playing, he just wasn't getting the yardage, and Chase Brown was just sitting on the bench. And finally, when Chase Brown finally came in, when Moss went down, Chase Brown, he could have had a Pro Bowl year if he played the entire time. And, Herbert that we traded for, I wanted Herbert. There was talk that he was going to get traded to the Bengals before the season started, which I wanted. And, Kendall Mitt was one of my Yoshi guys, Dale. I mean, I looked at your draft guide, and I'm like, holy crap, this got to be a great late-round pickup for us. Because he played only part-time at Georgia, and he was kicking ass. And I still want to see – but then again, if there's a running back in the draft, you can get in the 5th or 6th round that's sitting there. I'm all for that too. But I'm not ready to move on from Milton yet, if that's the case right there.
Yeah, I'm okay with moving on from Moss. The only thing that I have on that though is the whole injury settlement thing, because I'm sure they'll have to do something with all that. I don't know how all that stuff works. If anybody in the chat or Dale or Chop, Greg, if one of you guys know how all that works, you can let me know.
Me.
That's me.
Yeah. Got it. Hold on.
Notice I said Dale, and I'm like, well, I'll ask the other guys too. But,
yeah, just wouldn't want to make me feel stupid.
But
I appreciate that, Derek. I love
but
you too,
no,
buddy.
I don't know how all that stuff works, and with the cap cut and money saved, and then with the injury settlement, are we actually saving money? Like I said, I don't really know how all that works. But yeah, he was just kind of. I was really excited for Moss because of the year he had in Indy before, but he came over here and he didn't do it like he did over there. So I'm ready to move on. I think we've got two guys that are better than Moss, or was better than Moss not really in the room, because you said Herbert's a free agent as well. But I think, like Dale, like you said, we'll be able to get him back pretty easily.
Should be able to.
Should be, yeah.
Chop, your thoughts on Zach Moss here?
Yeah, my thoughts between Zach Moss and Khalil Herbert is I give a fuck. They can rock, paper, scissors, that shit for all I care. We didn't get a really good sample of seeing either one of them. Zach Moss got hurt. And to tell you the truth, going into this thing, when Zach Moss got hurt, it was like a shared thing, and they were giving Zach Moss more. If Zach Moss is here next year, Zach Moss ain't getting a 50-50 split. Zach Moss will be lucky to get a fucking 80-20 split, because
and that depends on health, even if he's healthy.
Yeah, because I think the Bengals saw this year that they got their fucking 3 down back with Chase Brown, and they just need a compliment for him. So I think that Zach would do okay with that. I think Khalil Herbert would do okay with that. Keep them both at a reduced rate, or get rid of Zach and save some money. Either way. But first of all, if you're going to do that, you got to see how much you can sign Khalil Herbert for anyway, right?
Exactly what I was getting ready to say.
Because if Khalil Herbert's like, I want $12 million,
and if he wants 3.3 per year,
whatever.
And maybe that's a decision, though. You know what I mean? Maybe you're saying we think Herbert going forward will be better than Moss because he's younger and he doesn't have this.
Both of them can block, right? Herbert and Moss can both block. And I know Moss is a good blocker, but I thought Herbert.
His PFF grades weren't great, but he showed some flashes when he had to play in the last game and stuff.
I was going to say the Pittsburgh game, he started out slow, but then he slowly started cooking up at the end.
Whoever compliments Chase Brown needs to be a fucking beast at blocking, because that's going to be their main role, because Chase Brown's going to run the ball, and we need someone in there that can block for Joe.
Which I imagine would be the biggest argument in keeping Moss, but you have to know that this neck isn't going to be an issue. In any way, shape, or form before you would bring him back at that salary. And if you cut him, though, like you said, but if you can get Herbert for, okay, we want to bring you back for 1 year, $1.5-2 million, or, maybe you got some incentives in there. So you're saying, I know NFL wise, $1.3 million maybe isn't a huge amount, but every little bit matters when you got so many holes and you're trying to fill. And if Zach Moss isn't going to be a guy that helps us, and you can save $1.3 million by bringing Herbert back, then I think I'd go that route. Personally, I might go that route for an even trade on $3 million, whatever.
I think it's crazy when we sit here and we talk about the money and we're like such a little amount, $1.something million. It's like, motherfucker.
NFL terms, little.
In the NFL, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a different world than what we live in.
God dang. I
mean, I turned
1.5 to them is like making $10 an hour at fucking the Shell gas station,
Yeah. And then the next guy on the list is Geno Stone. And obviously 4 or 5 weeks before the last 4 or 5 games of the season, 4 or 5 weeks before that, I would have said, hey, he gone. You got to cut him.
Yeah.
There's no reason to bring him back. But he does have another year, and he's making almost $8 million cap hit for next season, $1.5 million dead money. You'd save roughly $6.5 million by cutting him. It's a tough one because you don't want to be constantly bringing in a new starting safety at that spot. But at the same point in time, his performance wasn't great. It's really one that I've kind of mentioned on here. For me, I would let the new D coordinator decide what he thought his role for him. I don't think he's a 90 to 100% snap guy. And I think he's almost more matchup specific. But if that's the case, you're making $8 million at safety. That's being paid like one of the top safeties. I feel like that's not an overly paid position. So, and if you cut him, that would put the Bengals at $96.9 million in cap space by cutting the 4 players we mentioned, and then Stone being the 5th. So kind of thoughts on Stone, and we'll keep kicking it in the same direction. So you up first, Greg.
Well, Stone, like you said, Dale, okay, this was a couple of games ago. I'll be like, see ya, but just when I was ready to shut the door, this is the door right now. Okay, this is my chair. So the door's slightly open here. My chair's
slightly ajar.
Slightly open. So, but I don't know. But if there's a good safety out there, I don't know. But he made it tough at the end. But then again, the quarterbacks he was going up against were not like top-notch quarterbacks, really. So that's a tough one. But But if I had to pick, I would move on just to see what else. It depends on what the new defensive coordinator wants. Yeah. If he believes in Geno Stone, then that's fine. But if he's like, no, I want to find another safety free agency that I like, then let's go for it.
And we'll get into like the free agents at all these positions later, but it's just about cutting these guys now, even without knowing necessarily what's on the market or what you have later in the draft. Because you got to make your free agency moves and things like that, and your cuts for your salary space before the draft. That starts before the draft. Derek, your thoughts on Stone?
Yeah, I just think, I'm okay with it, and I was trying to look up and see. I haven't quite found it yet, but I was trying to look and see where he does rank as far as safeties, salary caps, because like you said, $8 million is a lot, but I mean, and you know a lot more about this than I do, Dale, but before you had said that, I was going in here thinking that $8 million, like, who are you going to get to replace him for that? And, it made me think, like, did we just use him wrong, like you said, Dale? And if so, will this new DC guy come in and say, okay, I know exactly how to use Geno, like you said, if it's a rotational role, whatever it is, and I can get the most out of this guy and make him a value at $8 million a year.
It could be also how this new person views Dejon Anthony and Tyson Anderson. Will they finally get more opportunities, to pair with Jordan Battle? If Stone's gone and that's before the draft happens, that you feel that confident enough that one of those two could fill his spot and save the $6.5 million. And then you're rolling with the guy on a much cheaper salary with one of those two.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at it right now.
Sorry, Derek, go ahead.
That's all right. I'm looking at it right now, and Geno Stone is ranked as far as his salary. I'm getting there. I'm still scrolling down. Holy crap.
He's still scrolling down.
Yeah, I was thinking he would be like right here, but
you're still going down.
So Kevin Byard for the Bears was at $7,500,000, so he's just above him. So top 15 still. He definitely didn't play like a top 15 player, so it's kind of.
That's what I'm saying, man. He certainly didn't play like for a lot of the season. He was ranked near dead last as a safety per PFF.
I'm undecided because whoever the new defensive coordinator is, I think they need to ask him what he thinks he can get out of Geno Stone. Maybe he can get out. Because it's all about scheme. What's his scheme? It's going to be like the Ravens last year when Geno Stone was good. So I do think that's a lot of money to pay for a guy that played like he played this year. So, but I don't know who to replace him with. We'd have to get a free agent in here, right?
Maybe.
And we'd have to pay a free agent money too, right? Yeah. And I don't know who the free agent safeties are that we would even entertain.
But you're going to have a new D coordinator, and that's the reason why maybe you do move on, because then he can get his own guy, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a complete toss-up right now. I think that one's a tough to answer, but it's at least worth mentioning because obviously we would have been all over it before.
And then, you know, someone of the Brew Crew said, I was looking at her, one of the Brew Crew was talking about if we get better line play, then, you know, our backs get better too. So maybe that helps if we get better pass rush and line play.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
I had to flip off crap.
The other thing you got to think about too is there's another safety in that room that I would get rid of before I would get rid of Geno Stone. And then do you really want to get rid of 2 of your starting safeties last year? Which I know Vaughn didn't end up being one of
Well,
our
his contract's running out. I don't see any world that he's re-signed.
And that's what I'm saying. Then you're having to replace 2 of them, because even though Vaughn in the end was just depth, that's still still need 3 safeties.
I really wish we could have seen some Tyson Anderson and more Dejon Anthony, so we'd feel more comfortable if they moved on. You know, it is a little bit unknown if you move on, because even Battle's still a young guy that wasn't a full-time starter either of the first 2 seasons, even though he probably should have been most seasons in hindsight.
That's what I'm hoping. I know we're talking salary cap, but with this new defensive coordinator, the whole defensive side of the ball, please, God, you know, develop these young players.
Yeah, no, and that's always part of it, you know. Who are you bringing in? What do you got to pay the next guy for sure?
Right.
Chris and Chris.
That's right.
Chris agrees with Chris.
Also, thanks a lot, Austin, because I swear to God, this is no lie. I fucking want a sloppy Joe now.
We were just talking about that the other night, about how that was one of Sarah's pregnancy cravings was manwich, just straight out the fucking can. I love
manwich.
And I'm like, it's not bad.
It's fucking great, man. Manwich is awesome.
This feels like a hill that Chop would die on.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to argue back.
Almost as much as he loves his Gold Star.
And the only thing that I'll even eat at Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore.
He didn't catch that.
Gold Star, man. Are you talking about Gold Star Hamburger Company?
Chop loves the most. Midwest Best Barbecue and Chop Shop T-shirts. Proud sponsors of the show. I got one. I just ordered a couple days ago, coming in the mail as we speak.
Greg, for your birthday, when we're done with the show, I want you to drive up to Midwest and tell them that you go ahead and get some chicken wings and bill it to you.
They're closed early.
Go ahead and buy yourself
There's a minor problem with that. They're closed.
Well, I want you to go first thing in the morning for your belated birthday and get you some chicken wing breakfast for yourself.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we know where Darth Bengal stands on the Gold Star chili debate. He is a Gold Star truther. He believes the Bengals have not been the same since they switched from Gold Star to Skyline.
That is, I'm a Skyline guy, but that is a fact right there.
They have not.
Well, next year's our destiny year. I'll say it for Chop.
Yes, it is.
And then everyone's going to love Skyline.
Those shirts coming back out, Chop.
Yes, Kevin. Thank you, sir.
And Tina is also Team Skyline. So you got a couple behind you there. Me, I don't much care for either of them. Maybe that's blasphemy, but I didn't grow up in Cincinnati. I'm 2 hours away from everything. So it wasn't something that was a regular occurrence for me.
I got to tell you, Darth can like Gold Star if he wants. Some people are into weird shit. I've seen videos where people literally eat shit. So some people are into that. Go ahead, Darth.
Eat your shit, Darth.
Eat your shit, man. Go ahead.
Oh, and
I will say we had one. We didn't even have a McDonald's. We had a Gold Star where I grew up before we had a McDonald's. So I grew up eating Gold Star. That's what I like.
See,
somebody should have called 241 kids on your goddamn parents.
Hey, technically here, as Chris mentions, the Bengals haven't had a losing season since switching to Skyline.
That's also true. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you coming in strong for the Chris's.
Yeah, but we strive for success. We don't strive for.
Darth said all chili is good chili, so
yeah, I agree 100%. I love it all. I'll take Skyline sponsorship. Thanks, you know, if I'll take Blue Ash Chili sponsorship,
Blue Ash Chili's
I'll
good
take any of them. If any of them want to sponsor Bengals and Brews, we will be more than happy to.
Yep.
You know who did have the BOGO for wins? Penn Station. They have a very good Philly cheesesteak. And
I would love to have Penn Station as a sponsor for the show.
We talked about this deal. Best fries, too.
Yeah, good fries. I wouldn't call them the best fries now. Don't put words in my mouth, Greg. You know how they went this week.
It was rallies.
Hey, listen, Foxy, you don't fucking count. You don't even live in the state, bitch. So sorry, you can't fucking call it Cincinnati chili. Keep
But
your ass down
Dale,
there.
Penn Station's fries are second behind Rallies. Come on, that's a good stick. Come on, that's fair, right?
I don't know, man. I'll tell you what. Five Guys Burgers and Fries. I
Oh
really
my
like their
God,
fries
Dale.
too, man. They
Five
got some
Guys
good
is
fries.
awesome.
See,
I
this is
like
why you
it.
tune into Bengals and Brews.
Greg
We were
doesn't like
talking
Five
about
I
Guys.
still have one
I
more.
like Five
I
Guys.
still have one more cut candidate. We need to get back to it before it goes off the rails for the rest of the show. We almost did a full half an hour of actual like Bengals content. That was the topic of the show. It doesn't usually happen. If you're here for that,
No, it does not. If you're a true Brew Crew member, you're like in awe because we was
Right.
able to stay on for that long.
Darth, I thought we were friends. Darth just said Five
Five Guys is
overrated.
good. It's elite burgers,
It's expensive. It's expensive, but
man. And
it's
the
very
fries.
good.
Come on, man.
I haven't
Those
had it in a
fries-
long time
fries.
either. So now I'm
Yeah.
really wanting, and I haven't ate today. So no, I did eat. I warmed up some rotisserie chicken that was from yesterday. So I had a little bit of chicken earlier, but damn,
Do you?
Five Guys sounds way better than that warmed up rotisserie chicken I
Yes.
had earlier.
Yes.
Just saying.
You eat
Anyway,
meat.
so the final potential cut
Okay.
candidate, and I feel like this one's still a long shot, Jermaine Pratt. So it's an $8.2 million cap hit, $2.3 million in dead money if you cut him. So you would save against the cap roughly roughly $5.9 million. If you could say $50 million, I say cut him. But it's
Boom.
$5.9 million toward the cap, and that would put us with the cuts we've mentioned. That would be 6 players cut at $102.8 million in space with those 6 cuts. Now we kind of broke down, and you can go back if you want the numbers after the 3 that I think gets cut. We were around 87. Then if Zach Moss and Geno Stone, after Geno Stone, you're at 96.9. But if you do cut Pratt, 102.8, over $100 million in cap space you could have with 6 cuts.
That's a lot of money.
I don't know about Pratt because he did.
That's a lot of
He
money.
has some good games. He's a good downhill, but sometimes he misses. I don't know, man. He's kind of
I'm
an
just
enigma.
saying, like,
But he's
I
slow
thought
as hell. I don't like him guarding tight ends. I don't like him covering,
Mhm.
period.
I thought that there was some stat that was talking about how good he was. Like he led something in tackles. I don't know if it was the NFL or just the Bengals, but
He did.
He was
had
probably
a-
top
he had
5
a-
or top 10 in tackles
Yeah.
for the league, at least.
mean,
because
so what
he
are
was
we
up
thinking?
there a
So
lot of the season in that.
I feel
think he
like
had a
getting rid of
career
Jermaine
year.
Pratt is be careful what you wish for, because once again, man, it's the linebacker. So
Yeah.
who the fuck are we getting in here to replace Jermaine Pratt day one?
Well, and I really liked what I saw from Shaka Hayward. It's
Shaka
one
Hayward?
game. It's one game. I can't put my full trust in a guy I saw
Boom.
for one game.
That's
Mhm.
what I'm saying. Like, that's
I
what
know.
I'm saying when I say I want this new defensive coordinator to come in here and develop and play these young guys. Like you said, Dale, can we get rid of Pratt? I don't know, because you saw Shaka Hayward one game.
See, I
Yeah.
said that we have to finish this, but then Sindustry says, get a McRib before they go away. I did
Yeah.
try a McRib finally. First time in my life.
Delicious.
About a month and a half ago.
Fucking
on our way
delicious.
home from the mall. Maybe a month ago. I don't fucking know. And time is fucking crazy when you're off
Yeah.
work for 3 weeks.
Jermaine Pratt was tied for 12th with 80 solo tackles, 2 forced fumbles, which is tied for 23rd.
12th out of how many
And-
starting linebackers in the NFL, too? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to bat for my boy because he slowed down some. I understand that.
Blood
But
drop.
maybe I'm
Blood
still
drop,
saying
right?
Yeah.
Blood
new
drop.
energy coming into the building might mean new energy for Pratt. We might see some fucking blood drops on Twitter coming up. He might be all in. I just don't know who we get in here to replace him, and I don't think he's done that bad, even though he's slowed down. You know what I mean? He's still producing.
And you don't want to have I know this. The Bengals don't like to have very much dead cap money. So if we're talking 6 guys with dead cap hits, that's probably not happening. You're not probably getting
You might
6
get
guys.
3 of those.
You should definitely get the 3 we mentioned at first. And then it wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me 4 with Zach Moss because of the neck situation as well.
Yeah.
You know what, with Pratt, I'm going to say this. I think if I had to pick a surprise cut, I think it could be Pratt. I don't know, man. Pratt just kind of goes back and forth with me sometimes. He shows signs of flashes, then he's down in the dumps. And there's times I don't know. I could see Pratt. I'm going to say Pratt's going to be my surprise cut. I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One other thing before it break. Oh, go ahead.
I was just about to say I didn't see. So if somebody could expand on that a little bit, Holmes, let us know what TJ Hushmanzada said
I don't know.
owners
about
referred
when
to his
owners
salary.
referring to
Yeah, I didn't
refer
see
to
it.
salary cap. Yeah.
I do know a big problem with Cincinnati, or at least is talked about, is the guaranteed money and the money that has to go into escrow and the things like that. And that's always a part of it when you got these big contracts like the Jamar Chases. And if you get Jamar and T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson, that you all got this escrow money you got to put in. The Bengals aren't known for that, but it's also a reason I say, why aren't you taking advantage of this private equity thing that these other teams like the Eagles, and there's several of them that are taking advantage of that now, that basically you give up no control of your team, but you're just getting a shitload of money that you can help turn around and put back in your team for these situations. They need to look into that if they don't have the money to do what they need to do, because there's going to be plenty of salary cap space, but is there the actual cash versus cap? You'll hear that a lot. Right. And I don't claim to be an expert on any of it, but I just give what Spotrac says about the salary cap and what we could be up to. That's about the extent of what I can give you when it comes to salary cap and cash. And honestly, man, we'll never know with the Bengals, like how much do they truly have? How much could they really put in escrow, but they just choose not to because it doesn't make them comfortable.
Right. And maybe we'll get our guy Goodberry to come back on and talk about that stuff, because he's a really good one to talk about the cash versus cap.
Andre Parada or Santori talks a lot of cap stuff. There's a lot of people that you can – Jake Lisco, he's pretty tuned in with all the cap stuff. So there's several guys out there. As I just say, hey, don't watch us. Watch all these other people because we're dumbasses.
Right.
Says he can't tackle it. Besides that, he's pretty good.
Yeah. He's hit or miss, man. I don't know how else to put it with Pratt. Like, there's sometimes you think, damn, I really like this guy. And there's other times.
You go. He said, he's on another show.
Bengal Jim show.
Yep. Talked that the owners will point to the salary cap when they don't want to pay a player. He referred to the Eagles paying all their players.
Right. Well, and they'll every team will do that. If they don't want to pay a player, they will make it look like they don't have the availability.
We've seen it so much with the Bengals. Well, we got future contracts for T, so we got to let and then they're like, well, we can't get T because we got future contracts for Joe and Jamar, and now Jamar's contract isn't even done. So it's like
every year they spend $15 million less than every other team because they want to roll over. Which they
roll over money. We need to roll over $10 million this season. And it's like, where does the fuck does that $10 million go? It goes in Mike Brown's fucking pocket. It goes in his fucking little diving fucking gold coin fucking Scrooge McDuck shit. We all know. But whatever. Katie and Troy are just as guilty, so I don't want to be called Jeff Treadapole for just saying about Mike Brown. I know there's other people in charge too.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to get to too that me and Greg planned on getting to, and then we kind of didn't. We've had some very good shows this week, I believe. So you guys
did it again.
Check them out. What?
The camp. We're back, and we're back. He did it a couple times with the mic, and then he did the camera again.
And then he blew it. Yeah. He was so close. But Javon Hargrave, so he's expected to be cut when the new league year starts. I'm up in the air. He turns 32 in February. He got hurt this season, so I think he only played in 3 games. So the PFF numbers here, you got to take a little bit with a grain of salt for this season. His overall grade was a 60.6. That sounds very mediocre. You look at the run defense grade, you go 44.7. That's fucking not good. But then you look at the pass rush grade and you see 73.3, which would be 23rd of 219 defensive linemen. That's pretty good. I like that. We need pass rush. So that part sounds good. And then you look at what he's done the last 2 years, and the run defense grades are not good. I'll continue to say that. But his pass rush grade last year, 87.2. Last season. The season before that, 90.8 pass rush grade. So he is known to be a hell of a pass rusher. It's definitely a weakness. 32 years old, after getting burnt by Sheldon Rankins at the similar age, I can't see the Bengals being in on him when he hits the open market, but I would have to see what he wants, and maybe he thinks the Bengals are close enough. He would take a discounted salary because he has made a lot of money in his career. But what are you guys' thoughts on Javon Hargrave? I
agree with exactly what you said, Dale. It depends on what he's going to come for because the 49ers are cutting him because of cap casualty.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's willing to take less, also maybe he's willing to get fired by them and then restructure with them. I don't know. How much is he going to come here for? That sounds like a lot of money for a guy that,
Could be on the downside of his career.
Like in the 80s and 90s. That sounds like we're going to pay that fucking guy a lot of cash.
Yeah. But coming off the injury, maybe he'd settle for a 1 year prove it deal. 1 year prove it deal
bit
for
scared.
$5 to $8 million. I would be in on $5 to $8 million for a season.
If they brought him here, I would be very excited. I'm not saying that I'm totally down for the thing, but I would definitely. I'm a glass half full guy. So when they announce somebody coming, I look at the positives. So I would be excited to get him. I'm not saying that I think that's what they should do, but I would be excited to see what he could do in our new defense.
Yeah, Andrew's saying back to Pratt, overall grade 60.2, 113th out of 189 linebackers. Yeah, his advanced stuff is very mediocre. Tackling numbers sometimes are hard to judge a player on. There's a lot that goes into all of it. I know he's not very good at coverage, and that hurts his grade ultimately. But yeah, he's just hit or miss for me. But back to Hargrave. Greg, your thoughts, and then we'll get Derek's thoughts on him as well.
I mean, I know the Bengals try to stay young, but Hargrave. But here's the thing: you think we would be the only team after him? He would get an offer where the Bengals going to be like, hell no. I mean, there's easily going to be 9 or 10 teams after him.
Even the 49ers said they'd like to have him
back. Yeah, exactly. They want him back. I'd like to go after him, but if he's asking for a crap load, I mean, the bottom line is the money bet is going to scare the Bengals away. That's what's going to happen. I would like to have him.
Perfect timing, Derek. Your turn.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm okay with it, but at what price? Like, do you really want? Because, like you said, Dale and Chop, I think you said it too. A guy like that, if he's wanting to make bank and like get like one last payday before he retires, I don't want to spend all that money on a guy that is just coming off injury. We don't really know, we've seen it time and time again when guys come back from injury. Sometimes they're great and they hit the ground running, and sometimes it's like, damn, he's half the player he was. So that it's a little stressful to go down that path, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this too. Like, I understand like this is a sexy destination with Joe Burrow here, but when you're a defensive player, does it also come in your mind if you got no defensive coordinator in place? You're going to be coming in, playing in a brand new system, trying to be instilled. It's not something that's already set up. Defensive player can't go, oh, that's a good defense. I'd fit good in there. You kind of don't know because we're going to be getting a new defensive coordinator. Do you think that comes into play with free agents when they think about coming here?
I think it certainly could. I think that's a good point. I do think if you get, though, a guy who's done it before, like the Graham guy from Las Vegas, done it for 5 or 6 years, and pretty good results with not necessarily the best talent overall on that defense, and a lot of injuries and young guys this year, and still managed to be 15th. If we were 15th with this offense, shit, we'd win the Super Bowl.
Bro, it'd be our destiny.
So if it was a guy like Graham that they hired, I think they would already know, what they're getting with a guy like that, especially D lineman. He had Christian Wilkins this year that they brought in, and then obviously Max Crosby's had a great
Chop is 100% an ass half full kind of guy.
Hell yeah. Put that bitch up. Let's go.
Guys will see that and say, hell yeah.
Yeah, guys will see that and say, hell yeah.
People start saying they spotted Marvin Lewis at the Kenwood Mall. Dude, I live less than 5 minutes away. Should I go camp out of the Kenwood Mall? I'll be like the Bengals and Brews crew, just camping out there the entire time, walking around all over the place, see if I can find any potential DCs. Hopefully I see Robert Saleh there sometime.
Maybe you'll see Marvin. I posted that in jest, like, I'm coming home, new D coordinator. And there's a lot of people like, I'd take Marvin back. I'm good, guys. I'm good.
Yeah.
Can we be the podcast that says, for just to ease everyone's minds and look past Robert Saleh, he's not getting a DC job for the Bengals. I mean, he's applying or interviewing several head coaching jobs, and I don't see the guy from everything I've seen, everything I've heard. The guy is like a fantastic human being, so I don't see him interviewing like badly for these jobs. I see him. I'll be the first to say he will be a head coach in 2025.
Well, and if he's not, he interviewed for DC back with San Francisco where he was already at. So I think if he's taking a D coordinator job, he's going back to work a place he already went and had success at, and knows a lot of the players still there, like the Nick Bosa's.
I mean, also, Also, I mean, let's just say that he was entertaining D coordinator. I understand what you're saying, but also maybe he's looking at a couple different things when it comes to if you're deciding between, not that this is going to happen, but I'm just saying things that I've been thinking in my head is if it's like Robert Saleh's like, the 49ers offer me something, the Bengals offer me something. So 49ers, Brock Purdy, do you think you're going to Super Bowl? Bengals, you got this offense that's the best offense in the NFL. We just don't have a defense, so it's up to you to bring in the missing piece that we need to go to the Super Bowl. And our head coach is most likely on the fucking hot seat if we don't make the playoffs next year, and you got experience as a head coach. So that's something you got to think about too, that you might slide into that position.
Yeah,
Not saying that he's coming here. I'm just saying, like, I originally thought, 49ers, he'll just go back there. But I don't know. Maybe he thinks about the different possibilities. And plus, he's already done the 49ers. And sometimes these coaches are like ready for a new challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you improve this Bengals team, there's a good chance you're playing deep into the playoffs next year. And if you didn't get a head coach job this year, that should be enticing. But it doesn't sound like the Bengals are even interested in it from everything that's out there so far. So
and
that's
who the
part
fuck
of it
knows
too.
what they're interested in? They're not. I mean, they're sitting on their hands right now with the whole entire coaching thing.
Back to the Javon Hargrave, the injury, Chris, was a torn tricep. So I imagine he'll be ready to start camp because he only played in 3 games this season before tearing the tricep. So he's been, on the mend of that for a long time. So I'd say he'd be good to go once the season rolls around. But he is 32 and this, that, and the other. And then Crip, man, he just can't get on focus because McRib talk's got him all fucked up.
I know. I'm going to get a McRib on the way in.
He says, hungry man has a good McRib. See, I don't even know what this brand was, but Sam's Club used to have a really good rib sandwich that you could just put in the microwave. Right. It was elite. And it had Sweet Baby Ray sauce on it.
Ooh.
Like already on it, and you put that sumbitch in the microwave for like 2.5, 3 minutes.
Keep talking.
Pop that sumbitch out. It was good. It's better than the McDonald's McRib, but I don't know that they have them anymore, which I never hardly go to Sam's Club anymore, but I hadn't seen them there the last few times I had.
Here, get from the school cafeteria. It's probably the same one they had at Sam's Club.
No, I don't want to talk about it because they had that one time this year. They had a fucking rib sandwich, and it was fucking killer, and I loved it. And I kept asking them. They're like, "Oh, it's scheduled to be on the menu next month." And they're like, "Oh, our menu changed." And I'm like, "Man, fuck y'all."
Man, if they ever have it again, just go in the cafeteria and grab a fucking stack of them McRibs.
I mean, just order me a box, yo.
The what?
Order me a box of them, yo.
Yeah, that's right, man.
We know they watch our show.
Well, I hope not.
You're right. There's proof.
I hope
well,
not.
Wait a minute, Dale. You haven't been back to work this whole year, have you?
Yeah, maybe they're just telling you there's no school.
Yeah.
Somebody might have seen the show. The whole school's been they've been going to class. They just haven't called Dale back yet. We saw the show.
Cameron? Yeah. Result didn't. I am proud of the way they finished, and they hung in there after 4-8 to win 5 straight, though, Cameron. And
man,
good to see you in the chat, brother. They were elite, Matt.
That Hard Knocks was one of the hardest ones to watch. Because
I gotta watch that.
You guys, I don't want to do any spoilers. You guys will just have to go back.
Did they win, but still not get in the playoffs?
Spoiler alert!
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Oh man!
Oh wait a minute!
I seen a clip with Yosibas, Gesicki, Tanner Hudson,
Gesicki, and who else was with them?
Tanner Hudson.
It was,
Tanner. That's right, Tanner.
Maybe
Hudson.
Someone else, but I remember those 3.
I did. Yeah. That is an elite picture, by the way, though.
What picture?
The one, it was the Step Brothers meme, and it had Yoshi, Tanner Hudson, and Gesicki together, like their heads.
Might have been Chase Brown in there too.
Or I think it might have been Chase Brown.
I think there was 4 because they had it was like a double Step Brothers situation.
Double Step Brothers.
Yeah. You guys want to talk some college football now?
I mean, might as well, right? Draft's coming up.
We're 50 minutes in, though, so probably
4 months from the draft.
Big game tonight, Texas-Ohio State. Should be interesting. Texas, the 5 seed in the playoff. Ohio State, the 8. Ohio State, man, they look good against Tennessee and Oregon. It's very similar to me because Texas, and you got to start with the quarterbacks. I think that's always important. I did not like the quarterback play in the game last night between Drew Aller and Riley Leonard. Now, I guess Riley Leonard did enough, but 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, a 1.9 run.
I heard
yards per
that
carry, and that's what he's known
Penn
for.
State, not one wide receiver caught a pass.
Yeah, I saw
not
that
one.
Too. Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, I was just watching
That's
the
been a
game a
problem
little
all
bit while I
season.
was at work, but I did hear that stat that not one wide receiver caught a pass last night from Penn State. I saw your fucking one-arm bandit in there killing it, though. Abdul Carter.
Oh, dude, he's so good. I'm going to have a right? He was already 3rd overall on my board, and Mason Graham was 1st. I don't think I can move Travis Hunter from 2. I think I got to move Abdul Carter to 1, and Graham's probably going down to 3 for me. Abdul Carter, man, he's just so good. First year as a full-time edge, and just he's gotten better and better and better. He's out there with his damn shoulder, basically playing with one arm and still out there dominating. God. Danny Dennis Sutton, I'm probably going to have to move into the draft guy from Penn State because Bud's like 6'5", 260, and I thought maybe he'd go back a year because he dealt with injuries some. But this playoff run, man, he's been a beast. He had an interception, but he had a forced fumble. He was just dominating. So him and Abdul Carter are both just nasty-ass edges. And it won't surprise me if Dennis Sutton does declare for the draft that he's a first-round draft pick when all is said and done. I know people aren't talking about him right now like the way they are, all the other guys because he hasn't declared yet.
Yeah.
Hey, this industry says you don't even have to watch college football. You don't have to. Just get the draft guide. They'll tell you all about these players. He does the watching for you.
That's true.
So I haven't got a chance to dive into it a lot, but since we are talking about Ohio State and the big game coming up tonight, I do want to ask you, Dale, if you had to choose, because I got to thinking about this when I did my first mock draft. If you had to choose between JT and Jack Sawyer, who would you choose? You got one guy that's just like has all the physical tools in JT, and then Jack Sawyer is just an elite, like a man's man, a freaking football guy. Like I know they both do, but I'm just saying, like who would be your guy out of those two?
Man, they're honestly very close. I think they're both 2nd-round picks. If one slide or both slide into the bottom of the 1st round, that wouldn't be shocking to me. I think they're solid 2nd-round pick. They have really come on during the playoffs, pass rush wise, with what Jim Knowles is scheming up for the defense and just letting them guys get after it. I wish I seen that more out of the 4 seasons they've both been there because I always knew that they were 5-star recruits, all the talent in the world, and you've seen flashes. But Sawyer's had a better like pass rush win rate on true pass sets. It's like an insane, like it's almost like 30% or something crazy. I got to see what it's updated at now. That's from, before the playoff run. But just an absolute freaking beast, man. Both of them good players, but I wish they were more consistently dominant throughout their careers. But I think they're both. I don't know, man. I guess I think I got Sawyer slightly above JTT, but that's still a process. And I'm not a person to like, oh, my opinion is this. I'm set in stone. Like, I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to watch more games. I want to see how they do during the draft process.
I am like that. I'm like, this is Dale's opinion, so fuck you. I asked Dale. This was his opinion. Fuck her off.
Speaking of opinions of Chops and his favorite team.
No kidding. I told you that kid was an ass.
And Travis, I already put in my notes because I have my notes too, players, because then I'll put like, okay, I arrow up or arrow down on them or rewatch, watch more tape of this guy or this, that, and the other. So I already put before the show started, I put in there for Kyron Lacey removed from the draft guide.
What was my take? People think I'm a fucking LSU homer, and I am, but what was my take on this guy, Dale?
Yeah, he's kind of an idiot.
He's a fucking idiot. What's my NFL comp?
George Pickens. He's the fucking kid's got talent, but he's a fucking idiot. Well, and what happened now is far beyond like what we've seen on the field. So it's even worse than a George Pickens because at least with George Pickens, we haven't heard the off-field stuff to this extent. This kid. So what happened for anybody who hasn't heard, and this is all reported, right? We don't know what
right?
But it's out there today that it was December 17th. There's a warrant out for vehicular manslaughter and felony hit and run. So it was like a 70-year-old former Marine that died in this car accident. And there's a couple more people that I believe were just injured. I don't know that anyone else passed away. But regardless, someone lost their life in an accident. Did he flee because he was drinking driving? smoking weed? Was he going too fast? We don't know those things.
Was he
I'm
just
sure that'll all
scared?
come
I mean,
out.
what happened? But he left.
But yeah, and someone died, and
they killed somebody,
and it seems like if he's being charged with vehicular manslaughter, he was at fault.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
So that's what I said. That Kieran Lacey, man, that he's got a fucking screw loose, man. He's like, I think he reminds me of Pickens on the field just because he's got talent and his head's just like, he just does boneheaded shit. And then I guess he's doing it off the field too. So
yeah, and Tyler Warren,
man,
he
was probably like a 3rd or 4th round guy anyway, right? Because
probably 3rd.
I mean, I ain't a draft guy, but that's what it sounded like. I don't know why anybody would take his ass in over the 3rd round.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. But yeah, I don't see him being drafted now. He'll be lucky not to be in prison from the sounds of it. But we'll see what happens there. But I'm probably picking him out of the draft guide.
You think if there's no court or anything like that by the time the draft comes, that somebody might swing at him in the undrafted free agency?
If there's no movement either way, I say no.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a guy you put your stamp on.
Mm-hmm.
And just regardless.
I don't think the Bengals used to be the team that would do some stupid shit like that, but there's other teams that have taken the torch for that one now. So I didn't know.
So we were asked about Tyler Warren. I'm sure you guys got to watch him some, right? Penn State, if you've watched some of the playoffs. And if you haven't, that's fine too. But man, he's just a beast, 6'6", 260. He's a hell of a blocker. You can run him out of the backfield. He can throw passes. He can catch passes. Good route runner, big boy, hard to bring down. Would I take him at 17 for the Bengals? I think we have bigger needs. I know it's a question still with Eric All. I want Mike Gesicki back, even though I know he basically plays wide receiver.
Yeah.
But we got Drew Sample. We got Cam Grandy, Tanner McLaughlin still on this roster. That could be something. As much as I love Tyler Warren, and he is my tight end 1, and I think he's worthy of a top 20 pick, I think there'll be a better player at another position of a bigger need. So me personally, would I take Tyler Warren? It'd be very unlikely that there's a scenario where he'd be the top guy on my personal board, even, to take him there.
Yeah.
You guys have any thoughts on Tyler Warren?
M loves him. He also says that we would never have to pay him big boy money. I tell you the truth, I think this is a moot point. I really feel like it's a moot point because I feel like they're signing T. I just think that, like, if they don't, then something really fucked up because I'm just reading between the lines, but the stuff that Joe said, the stuff that T said, the things that T has done, I feel like they're signing him. So it's a moot point, honestly.
Do you guys have more time? Like, I don't know what everybody's schedules are today. Because
I do got to get ready, but I got a few more minutes. And plus, I missed all the other shows, man. I didn't even get my PTO.
Yeah. I got a little more time. We're remodeling our kitchen starting Monday, so I gotta.
Well, hold on. Take your headphones off and ask if you have more time.
No, if he asks, he'll say he doesn't.
I know.
So he might as well not ask.
Open that door because you already know the answer.
Yeah.
Ask for forgiveness.
Hey, unfortunately, guy, I do have to head out.
All right, but I know it's your birthday, so I want to give everybody an opportunity before I talk more about some of these prospects in this game to watch for Texas and Ohio State. I want to give everybody an opportunity to.
Happy birthday!
Hey, Greg.
Happy birthday,
leave your door unlocked or leave the key under the mat so that if I get a break, then I will come over and give you a birthday hand job.
Always, buddy. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's under the second doorstep.
Boom. Gotcha.
Love you guys.
Kisses.
Love you, brother.
It's his birthday.
Yeah.
Probably going back in the backyard. His mom's going to give him some ass.
But when I started talking about this matchup, it starts with the quarterbacks, and that's Will Howard and Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
Man, they're both so I don't know what guy's going to show up, either one. Will Howard's had a good couple games here. I think Quinn Ewers is the more naturally talented quarterbacks. Both of them can make boneheaded mistakes and turnovers that just can really hurt you. And I think it could come down to something like that today. If one of them throws 2 picks and the other one has 0, their team probably wins. And not to oversimplify it, but I just never know which guy I'm going to get from either one of those guys. So I think it's got to start there with the quarterbacks. What do you guys have any thoughts on either of those guys or both of those guys or the quarterback matchup in general? 2 good defenses too to go against.
I mean, I don't know shit about either one of these teams. They're not the teams I watch. I don't watch a lot of college football. But I do feel like if Ohio State goes in there and plays like they played against Oregon, fucking prayers for Texas. right? Yep. And also, like, they're going to be facing Notre Dame, whoever wins, right?
Yeah. Notre Dame's in
Jesus
the championship.
Christ. I mean, I don't want to jinx y'all, but congratulations. I'm not, I'm okay with Ohio State. Fuck, I live in Ohio. It's just not the team that I 100% pick, but I root for them when they play because I like you guys.
Well, we like you too, buddy.
Oh man, thank you,
Derek. You got any thoughts? I know you haven't necessarily been a huge Will Howard guy.
Yeah, I hate to say it because he's Dale, like you said, the last couple games he's played great, but
he's very inconsistent. I mean, there's no way around
exactly. It like you said, it depends on what Will Howard shows up. I've never really been a huge fan of him, but if he wins us a natty, then hey, he's the best damn Ohio State quarterback we've had in a long ass time, right?
He'll be another one.
If you win a natty, then you're the man. That's just how it goes,
exactly.
Man.
Right. Unless you're Stetson Bennett, he got two of them, and he is not the man.
And then Ewers, man, I've loved that kid since he was at Ohio State. I was really torn up when he left, but it's good. This is going to be a fun game. I'm really interested to see what Ewers can do against a elite Ohio State offense or defense.
So this guy Ewers played for Ohio State
for like 4 months.
He never started.
He didn't play. Yeah, he didn't really play. He was
and
there
he transferred
as a
to another school and he
Texas,
became the starting quarterback.
Yeah,
and he may transfer again if he doesn't go to the NFL because Arch Manning's behind him at Texas, and Arch could get some packages tonight against Ohio State. That's something to watch out for. They haven't been doing it too much, but they did it throughout the season.
I'm just saying, sounds a little. I know another quarterback that also played for Ohio State, never got to start. Transfer, went to another school, started, and the man
Quinn Ewers is not Joe
genius.
Burrow. Don't ever say that because people will tell you that it's the worst take of all time because he's not.
And I'm not being serious.
I know.
Ain't nobody's Joe Burrow.
That's right.
Jaden Daniels a close second, and that's it.
And then, I mean, it's just stacked with good matchups, good prospects everywhere. The wide receivers for Texas, Isaiah Bond and Matthew Golden. Bond's had a down year. He is expected to be a first rounder. I don't know if he'll go back to school. I don't know what he'll do, but he's a speedster. He could run a 4.2 if he comes out, and that may be why he comes out because you run that. Well, you're probably sliding into the first round regardless of your down season. What worries me about Bond, especially even though Matthew Golden's been the one playing better and been their go-to guy lately, and I think he's made himself a lot of money if he declares this year. But we've seen Burke and Igbinosun. They've played good in the playoffs, but I go back to that first Oregon game and Evan Stewart, who decided to go back to Oregon, another guy down year, but speedster. He ate up Denzel Burke on deep passes. So I'm curious to see that matchup, and then I'm curious to see, Igbinosun if he can not go back to the guy who had like 12 fucking pass interference penalties in the regular season. That was awful.
He didn't play bad last week.
Know why we're talking about the draft. Because the Bengals aren't playing. I said to somebody last night at work, season's over or something. They was like, it's not Super Bowl yet. And I was like, season's over.
Yeah.
They're like, because the Bengals aren't playing. I'm like, season's over. I mean, I'm just watching football now. I'm not like rooting for teams and stuff. It's over.
Yeah, I'd rather talk college football playoffs and draft than I would NFL playoffs with the Bengals out.
Well, if we're talking
exactly. I have a personal issue.
NFL, it's not the Bengals because they're fucking not in it.
I have a personal issue because there are several teams that I do not want to see make the playoffs. I don't want to see the Ravens make it or playoffs, make the Super Bowl. I don't want to see the Ravens. Don't want to see the Steelers.
No.
Don't want to see the Chargers. No. Don't want to see the Chiefs.
No.
I'm running out of teams right now.
Yeah.
Fuck Harbaugh.
Yeah. Hey, let me just share this. I know we're talking about that game tonight, but like I just wanted to interject. Last night I shared with you guys this thought I was having. It's like Steve Spagnuolo's got all these head coaching gigs that he's going and looking at, and if he takes one of them, that's going to leave that defensive coordinator position open in the Chiefs. What would happen if Lou Anarumo became the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs? That's a fucking doomsday scenario, I feel like. I would hate that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's definitely possible, and we see the Chiefs are willing to pay coordinators. He's the third highest paid defense coordinator at $3.5 million. Maybe they don't pay Lou that, but I bet they pay him more than what the Bengals did last year.
I heard the Bengals have given him like $1.5 million.
Yep. 1.5 last year. I
Yeah,
bet the Chiefs would gladly give him $2.5 million just not to coach against him. But they also know what he can scheme up in the playoffs. And him versus Joe Burrow was your point, and that's a scary thought. And we can say I think it was time to move on. I do think that Lou will get a defense coordinator job. He interviewed with the Colts as well. Yeah, your thoughts, Derek? I think it'd be scary as hell to see Lou on the Chiefs in that scenario,
or in the North even too.
Where did he just interview at?
The Colts.
The Colts, yeah. I just like Chop said, anywhere in the AFC. I don't want to see this guy more than every so often, because he is great at scheming up against really good quarterbacks. And if there's one quarterback he knows better than anyone, it's Joe Burrow.
That's what I'm saying, man. And it's like I really feel like Dan Pitcher's come in and did such a good job, and I want to see his second year, what he can do in the second year. And I feel like if you're scheming against Lou and you're Dan Pitcher, you need to come up with a whole bunch of new shit because Lou knows all your shit.
Yeah.
And I call it Murphy Brown's Law because it's Murphy's Law, but it's the Browns team. So it's Murphy Brown's Law that when bad shit can happen, it's going to happen because of this right here. Just like I said that the goddamn playoffs were going to come down to the fucking Chiefs and the Broncos. And what the fuck happened? It came down to the Chiefs and the Broncos. For some reason, even though we're not in the same division, the football gods have decided to fucking pair up Kansas City and Cincinnati every fucking year back and forth with some kind of shit.
Yeah, like Paul Daner said, the 12-leg parlay ended as every 12-leg parlay ends in heartbreak.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and honestly, man, I won't go too deep on these prospects. I think I've talked about all of them on other podcasts that anybody can go back and check out, even the first week of the playoffs, second week of the playoffs, all that. Both lines are going to be interesting battles, offensive, defensive lines. So, I mean, specifically for the Bengals, there's just tons of guys. Texas has some studs that can't even come out, one of them being a true freshman in Colin Simmons that could wreck a game plan against the Buckeyes. Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton at D tackle. They got a good D line. And then how does Donovan Jackson hold up at left tackle against a talented front like that? And the rest of the guys, because it's kind of been a patchwork O-line that's been good the last couple of weeks for the Buckeyes, but we'll see how they do. And then on the flip side, Texas has 5 guys that are in the draft guide. Every starter is in the draft guide, and a couple of those probably first-round picks. Some of the other ones could be day 2 picks. That's a hell of an offensive line, but the Buckeyes, like Derek mentioned, Sawyer, JTT playing their best football right now at edge. Tyleik Williams, I think, is the first-round guy at D tackle. Ty Hamilton's a draftable guy, the other D tackle. And then the guys coming in, the Kenyatta Jacksons, the Caden Currys for the Buckeyes, the backups on that D line are pretty damn solid as well. It's going to be a dogfight, man.
Yeah,
Dalton won't surprise me if your Longhorn wins, brother. It should be a good matchup. I know you've been on the Longhorns. We're Buckeye fans, me and Derek, and Chop's LSU, so he don't give a shit.
Hey, Dale, let's say that you have to draft one player from tonight's game at pick 17. Which player from tonight's game would you take for the Bengals?
Probably Kelvin Banks, and I'd start him at left guard. He's their left tackle, but I'd start him at left guard. I don't know that he'll get to 17. I don't think he should, but I think it's a big night because he'll be going up against JTT.
So, because I don't watch either one of these teams, which team does he play for, Ohio State or Texas?
Texas. He's the Texas left tackle, and he'll be going up against Tua Molau, who is the Ohio State right end, and that'll be a hell of a matchup. But I think you could play Banks at left guard while you got Orlando here, and then when Orlando leaves, this kid slides out to left tackle. He's a great pass blocker.
Is he first grade? You got a first-round grade on him?
Oh yeah, he's my lineman number 2, right behind your guy Will Campbell from LSU. Okay. And I think it's not a huge 17. I doubt it, but I mean, anything can happen because you get a third quarterback that somehow finds his way up to getting drafted high. I heard Mel Kiper talking about Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, that he wouldn't be surprised if he's that guy. And Jalen Milroe, some team could get fascinated with his legs because he sure hasn't been a consistent passer. But
what'd you say that Stone guy? How tall is he? What's his measurements?
Who?
I'm putting you on the spot here.
Banks?
Yeah, Banks. That's right. So he's a left tackle, but you say you could play left guard and then slide out.
Yeah,
to left
he's
tackle
like
later?
because he's like 6'4", so he's not the longest guy, and some people think he'll slide into tackle for that reason. I can't remember his weight off the top of my head. I think it's a good weight, like 6'4", 315, 320,
Well, that's pretty good.
somewhere in that range. Dalton might know that a little more exact than me, but Cameron Williams is good too, the right tackle, and he's been dealing with the knee and missed a couple games, but he's expected to play tonight. He's a kid I'd kind of like to see go back to Texas another year, just develop another year, and maybe he's the top offensive lineman next year, even though he's a right tackle. We've seen that with J.C. Latham, and maybe he slides over to left tackle next year and shows that when Banks leaves. But
Kelvin
if he
Banks
comes out, he's probably a first rounder.
6'4", 320 is what he's listed at.
6'4", 320.
Yeah.
There you go. Good, solid player, man. It's just they're stacked. They got a tight end, Gunnar Helm, that's very good for Texas. Also on the defense, the corner, Jade Albert, and I think he's a first-round guy. He won the Thorpe Award this year.
Yeah.
I think they might match him up. We'll see. He could be on Jeremiah Smith, but I could also see them putting Malik Muhammad, their number 2 corner, who won't be drafted this year, but he'll be a guy to keep in mind for next year. He's on the watch list. I think they could double Jeremiah Smith with him and a safety pretty much on him at all times. And they got 2 good safeties too, and Makabu, who will be in this draft, and then Michael Taff, who should be in the next one.
It's going to be
but I can see them putting Barron one-on-one with Emeka Egbuka, who's probably also a first-round pick. So I'm saying a lot of first-round picks. There's a lot of first-round talent on both of these teams.
Good.
It's going to be a big night for our tight ends.
It's at 8 o'clock, right?
Because
7:30.
7:30
says, but it'll
kickoff will be close to 8. Yeah.
Is it on
7:40?
Is it on Prime? It's on Amazon, right?
ESPN.
Yeah. All right. I just got to know just so my boss knows I'm not going to watch that at work tonight.
And then, like, for the Buckeyes, some guys we haven't mentioned, the running backs, I mean, they're good. I like their running backs too, but I think they're both next year guys, and Jaden Blue and Quintavious Weisner, I think is his name. But he's on the watch list, so these guys haven't dived too deep in for this season, but I like both of them. They can catch the ball out of the backfield. If they get their run game going, that'd be huge. They couldn't do it against Arizona State, but it's been bread and butter for them for a lot of the season because they have such a talented offensive line. But the Buckeyes running backs, Judkins and Williams, a lot of people have Judkins over Travion Williams, but I just think Travion's a better prospect. I like what he does in blitz pickup. I like how he can catch the ball, and he's an explosive home run hitter. And that's not a knock on Judkins. I think he's very good too, but Travion's definitely a guy. He needs to have a big game if they're going to win, I think, regardless.
Judkins is younger, isn't he?
Yeah. Travion came back for his senior year. Judkins could technically go back to Ohio State one more season, and I think that'd be good for him. But at the same point in time, you're probably a day 2 pick either way, so he may go out. And I still like him a lot, and maybe he has a big game. It wouldn't surprise me. Good player. Donovan Jackson is the offensive lineman for the Buckeyes. Like we talked about Banks and Cameron Williams, their tackles specifically. But Donovan Jackson's a left guard who's had to play left tackle for the Buckeyes. And I think he'd be in play, especially in the second round for the Bengals. I like him quite a bit. I'd love to get him in the second personally.
You think he's there? Yeah. We picked 49 second round, right?
Yeah. He could be. There? He could be off the board. Being able to kick out to left tackle at a serviceable level is very valuable, and somebody could take him a lot higher than 49. It wouldn't shock me, but if he's there at 49, I think he'd be in consideration.
Okay.
And then like Cody Simon at linebacker, you're talking a day 3 linebacker. He's had a great senior season, 2 sacks in the last game. So a guy that can blitz, but he's solid in coverage. Kind of came in as a safety for the Buckeyes. That's a player to keep in mind too. We talked about the corners and Burke and Igbinosun, but the one no one talks about because he's kind of hybrid corner safety is Jordan Hancock. You don't hear nothing about him because he just does his damn job at a pretty high level every single game. So I'll be curious to see where he goes. And that could be a need for the Bengals. He could be a 3rd, 4th round guy, and he's there, and you go, I could play him at safety or slot corner, and that could be a need for us.
Mike Hilton replacement,
And then Lathan Ransom. I love Lathan Ransom.
Oh, yeah.
And he should be in the draft. He's a top 5 safety in this class for me.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just mention this guy because get to know the name. Everyone I think already knows the name. Was an All-American as a true freshman at Alabama. Came here All-American. Caleb Downs, man, but he won't be eligible till next year. So won't dive too deep on him, but he's a fucking stud, man.
We got a lot of guys that came back and a lot of guys that can't go out. It's a crazy mixture of
I know. That's what I'm saying. Getting into this college shit kind of sucks because you get your team, you get some good guys, and then you already know they're leaving. At least with the Bengals, at least with the NFL, you can be like, God damn it, re-sign that guy. But in college, it's like it's totally revolving door. And now that the NIL shit's in there, God damn, the door is flying. You know? So college is a weird. I mean, I'm just getting into the college shit. It's a weird ass animal over there, man. I love it. The play, I feel like sometimes the play is a little bit more physical. These kids get out there and just, I mean, go the fuck at it.
Well, I guess we'll give a score prediction to end.
I think their overtime shit's stupid as fuck.
I want to show you this real quick. So, one of the other leads that I work with, his daughter's 10th birthday party is tonight, and his wife set up their basement. I don't know if you can see that. Yep. Ignore the B. That's mine. That's my phone. But he said, I feel like I need some drugs right now.
I thought maybe he's setting up beer pong for him.
But we'll do score predictions for this one, even though I hate to, because
21.
You know how I feel, man. The Oregon, I was like, man, I was about to pick Oregon last week. Chop kind of killed me into picking the Buckeyes. What'd you say, Chop?
21-17.
21-17. Who you got winning?
I'll take Ohio State, man, because I'm down with my boys. And plus, I'm not a fan of Texas. I've been there. Fuck Texas. I hate that state.
No,
maybe at the western part's nice, but the eastern Texas, no thanks.
Dalton's going 34-28. Texas. I mean, I could see it. I could easily see it.
See, this it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I do. You see this? Even though they're motion I'm doing right now. Often. This is what you're going to be doing most of the night tonight. The surrender cobra.
Don't be talking that shit.
Ohio State 34, Texas 28. Go Bucks. OH.
Fuzzy balls.
You gotta pop fuzzy ball.
Let me pop on this.
Paying
pop on these
$10 super chat, man. Appreciate you. Go ahead, Chop.
T would sign 5 years, $125 million guaranteed. The first 2 years with no trade clause. T would sign. Reconfigure Joe Burrow's contract 0 and get it done. It would be insane to throw away the chemistry. I agree. I think
and Joe wants him. Joe wants him. I mean, you got to make Joe happy. Someone asked us earlier, and I don't think we got to that question, but I remember seeing it was, do you think there'd create some tension / disconnect between Joe and the front office if T isn't brought back? Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I think Joe made that very clear.
I feel like maybe he'll say, I'm not playing for you anymore. Trade me or I quit.
Yeah. Well, I hope it doesn't get to that. But I think it would definitely be a step in a bad direction for the team.
It reminds me of the whole Carson Palmer deal. I'm just hoping, like, please, God. Don't let that happen.
KB saying 31-20-21 Ohio State. We've got KP from KC5 saying Ohio State about to dog walk Quinn Ewers. Foxy's saying 35-28 OH. Dalton, hey, I appreciate you, brother. It's going to be a fun game no matter what. I agree with that. But Crypt Keeper being Crypt Keeper, of course, says not happening. Casper Dick, love you, buddy.
Maybe if it's going to be high scoring, I should just double my score and make it 42-34.
There you go.
Yeah, boom, double.
Man, I don't know. I can see it going either way. Like I kind of talked about with the quarterbacks, 2 talented rosters. Texas is very good at getting off to a fast start, but then sometimes they have lulls in the second and third quarter, and then they turn it on again in the fourth. I think if they can keep away from their, mid-quarter lulls that they've had, I think that they got a very good chance to win this game. Mm-hmm. The Longhorns do. But man, the Buckeyes are playing good football too. Can they get pressure on Quinn Ewers with their front four? That's the biggest thing for me. That's a good line they're going against, but if they pressure Ewers, I think you get them to make some mistakes. I don't want this game. If this game comes down to a field goal, it's tied and it comes down to a field goal. I mean, Dalton probably don't want that either because Texas kicker missed a couple, but I don't want it coming down to Ohio State's kicker. So that would scare. I think Texas wins if it comes down to just a field goal.
Their kicker is actually
he's
pretty good.
He's better than Fielding.
Yeah.
Fielding can't make anything outside of like 40 yards. Typically.
Fielding needs to be fielding some new jobs.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
and speaking of that, I gotta go field a shower. So I love you, boys.
Buddy. We'll see
good luck tonight with the Buckeyes.
Yeah, hope they can pull it
And
out.
everybody in the Brew Crew, I fucking love you. And who day?
And I'm gonna go, even though
Love
I
you.
feel like it's jinxing the Buckeyes for me to pick them. I just got to be with what I feel, and I've gone back and forth over the last 3 days. I'm nervous as hell about the game. I ain't gonna lie. I really feel like Texas could win, but just what the Buckeyes have shown the last couple games, and I'll probably be wrong because I seem to be wrong a lot. I'm gonna go with the Buckeyes in a very close game, a very tight game, a game right down to the wire, and I'm gonna go 31-27. Buckeyes pull it out, but that's not a confident pick.
Yeah.
I'll just be honest. I did pick the Buckeyes last week, I guess.
I was about to say, since we were all taking the over on points, it's going to be under.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, there's such good defenses, and if the quarterbacks are both having off games, then it could end up being a slugfest that they're grinding it out. But I also know the weapons in Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond, and then on the Buckeye side, Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith. I seen the super chat there.
Yeah.
And then also, I think Carnell Tate, who's only had 1 or 2 catches the entire playoffs because they've been feeding the top 2 guys so much. I think this could be a Carnell Tate game where he ends up with 6-7 catches in this game. Huge clutch catches. He's a talented kid too that could end up being a first rounder next year if he stays at Ohio State or not, because he's got a girlfriend at Oregon, so that's something to keep an eye on.
I'm convinced that Fuzzy Balls is actually T. Higgins because, he says we were 1-4 without T and 8-4 with T, and really could have been 11-1, 12-0. Joe knows what's up.
You're right, T. Fuzzy Balls, T. Higgins. Yep. We agree, and we want you here, T. Higgins. Fuzzy Balls. We want you to stay in Cincinnati. They got a Shake Shack for you. You want one of those? I seen there's one of those opening up.
He's probably part owner, if we're being honest.
I mean, or he will be. And your jellyfish are happy here in Cincinnati. You don't want to have to move them somewhere else.
Yeah. Do you really want to move? I mean, that's a lot to do. The stress on the jellyfish. What if they died? There's some things you got to think about.
Don't put that in the universe.
He shouldn't move.
Don't say that about the jellyfish. He's already had a tough time with the jellyfish the first time. Man, now Fuzzy Balls isn't going to give us any more super chats. Can't be saying that, even putting that in the universe. We apologize.
Yeah, we apologize.
Fuzzy Balls. But no, man. And Good Samaritan. I talked about that the other day. The Eli's barbecue there, the father-in-law or whatever, helped push him out of the snow, man. What a guy. What a guy.
What a guy.
Complete opposite of Jermaine Burton. That come out, by the way. We don't talk about it too much. But, second reported domestic type assault incident that happened that Ben Baby reported. So I don't know the full details on that one. But either way, it's just been a mess, man. I think it's just the kid cut bait and hope he gets his life together. It's about all I can say on that one.
Yeah. Hey, Fuzzy Ball says it's cool. So,
all right. We appreciate you, brother.
And you heard it here first. All Fuzzy Balls wants is 5 years, $125 million.
Get it done. Keep Joe happy, and we win when T's on the field.
Yep.
With Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Yeah, and Fuzzy Balls. T Higgins in general here, KP from KC says Higgins should be afraid of bad quarterback play if he leaves. You guys got a good thing going both ways, Just saying. Shout out for the super chat. Appreciate you. Yeah, we done almost an hour and a half. We didn't plan on going that long. Got the Buckeyes game at 7:30. I think I'm still going on Rally Around the Natty with Santori and Bengal Dad at 7. I'm going to be sitting there like, probably antsy as can be, trying to get a 20-minute show in when all I can think about is the Buckeyes. I'll probably definitely have to calm my nerves with some Miller Lights at that point. But for right now, we're sticking with the old Pepsi Zero. Can't go wrong with Pepsi Zero.
I'm drinking. Have you ever had this before, Dale? It's called Hint.
No, it's like I ain't fancy. I ain't rich like you, brother. I can't afford that.
Water infused with blackberry essence. It's actually really good.
Blackberry. I'm out on blackberry. I don't like any kind of
that's right.
flavor and taste. And
bland ass. No.
I am. No. Self-admitted bland ass over here.
Yeah.
Bland ass. But no, man, good show. Talked some salary cap at the beginning, got some college football at the end, all kinds of things in between. Javon Hargrave. Can always check us out on YouTube.
Even
Really
got Five
appreciate.
Guys.
We talked about Five Guys burgers and fries, rib sandwiches, the McRib. There was a lot of talk, as tends to happen on Bengals and Bruce. Not even drinking. Derek's doing dry January. I have done the opposite of dry January with this weather. It's just nothing to do.
Yeah.
3 weeks off from work. It's just like, all right, I guess I'll have a few beers again tonight.
You wake up.
No, I ain't been doing that. I got at least, wait till like later and be like, because if I start drinking early, I'm going to keep drinking late. It's like, all right. Once it hits your lips, it's just so good. It's just so good. I'm back. Frank the Tank. We're going streaking. I don't want to go streaking in this weather. It's like,
no,
10 degrees
everybody's
out
doing the
there.
snow
Ice
angel. Have you done the
everywhere.
snow angel challenge yet?
Hell no. And I thought, if somebody nominates me for a dumbass snow challenge thing, I'm going to walk outside and I'm going to go, oh, here's me doing the snow challenge. Fuck you, I ain't doing that dumb shit. This is fucking solid ice. And it's cold as hell. Kiss my ass. And then I'm going to turn the video off and walk back inside.
Yep. I think everybody knows better.
Yeah, I ain't about that life. Nope. I did send you guys a picture earlier. I said, oh, I fell in the snow.
Yep.
It's 2 handprints and a little tiny wiener. I love that. I stole that from someone else. I seen it on the internet. But yeah. So even got some wiener talk in here at the end. See, that's what happens when you're trying to end it and you don't.
Yep.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Y'all are the best. And I do hope the Buckeyes win. So, OH.
IO.